what does ascension look like? Hey there, welcome back to my channel where we talk all things money, marketing, and metaphysics. Now, I'm so excited for today's video because I'm actually going to be doing a joint talk about my trip to Mount Shasta for the Lionsgate Portal 88, as well as my upgrade to my third Moldavite over here. And I will be basically talking about both of these things. And the reason why is because they happen together. And I feel like I just have to tell the story together, essentially. So I'm going to start off by talking about Mount Shasta, and then I'm going to be talking more about the Moldavite. So if you're just interested in either two of those things, then I'm going to have time stamps below. So just in case you just want to listen to Moldavite, then you can fast forward to that. But I highly encourage you to listen to both parts because it relates to each other. And if you've ever wanted to go to Mount Shasta, then this is the perfect video for you, especially if you are looking to spiritually ascend or just ascension in general, right? Okay, so let's dive deep into my experience going to Mount Shasta. So Mount Shasta is known as the root chakra of the universe. And really, it's such a beautiful place. I was really called to go there after speaking to one of my friends named Tammy that I actually met on YouTube. So go check her out if you haven't already seen some of her videos on Moldavite. But essentially we met on YouTube and we were having this conversation how she was going to Mount Shasta. And I was like, you know what? I feel called to go there too. And so it was really crazy how it just ended up very aligned where we just went together and it was fun, but it was also super, super spiritually uplifting. And because we went on the weekend of the Lionsgate Portal, the 8/8 portal, right? And so if you don't know anything about the Lionsgate Portal, it's basically when Sirius and the sun is aligned with each other and just the energy is very strong. And so a lot of people have been going to vortexes in order to really ground themselves and absorb that energy and really step up into the next level of their journey, right? And so that was my intention to going to Mount Shasta. And so essentially we actually stayed on a farm. We found this Airbnb, and me personally, like I haven't camped in such a long time, but I love camping and I just love being in nature because I think that especially if you live in the city, which I live in the city, when you're so surrounded by dense energy, it's so important for you to actually remove yourself and be around nature and remember who you are, right? We get so sucked into the day-to-day lives that we forget that, hey, like there's something called trees, right? And so you can actually enjoy that at Mount Shasta. So we stayed at a farm at this Airbnb, and the first day at Mount Shasta, we actually went to this place called Kangaroo Lake. And now I feel like Kangaroo Lake is such a hidden gem because it's not something that people really talk about. And it was because we stayed at this Airbnb that we were able to find out about Kangaroo Lake and what it was. And so basically it's this really crystal clear lake, and there's something going on outside, but it's a very clear lake. And we were there for the day, really soaking in the energy where there's literally no cities around us, right? Very serene, very peaceful. And that was also the same day that I received my Moldavite, right? And I actually got this Moldavite from Tammy. And this Moldavite I have upgraded since my previous one, which was this one over here. So as you can see, this was my second Moldavite, right? And then I actually have a video on this one, which I will link above. Just click somewhere because you'll find that video. This stone, which I got my second time, and then there's this one, which is the third one, which I just recently got at Mount Shasta, right? And so the very first one, if you watched that video, you would have known that I actually threw away that very first Moldavite because I was just like, what the heck is this energy? And I couldn't handle it. So if you want to watch that video, then please do so because it'll make much more sense as to what I'm about to say, right? And so essentially that's what happened that day, right? 8/8, I received this third Moldavite. And what's interesting is that because I was in such a high vibrational place, it didn't hit me, the effects of it, until I actually came back to LA, right? Which is where I'm at. And again, I'll talk more about the symptoms and kind of like what happened during that time frame. But let's go back to Mount Shasta, right? So Mount Shasta is a really, really spiritual place. If you've never been there, it is really a place of self-healing. Actually, it's so interesting because I actually just got engaged recently, and my fiance and I were talking about getting married in Mount Shasta because it does represent the root chakra of the entire universe. And we want to make sure that our family is deeply rooted, that we have strong values, whatever the case may be. And I think that the symbolism around the root chakra is so huge. And we're very excited to hopefully have our wedding at Mount Shasta, like maybe next year or the year after, whatever the case may be. But lastly, when it comes to Mount Shasta, I wanted to talk about actual Mount Shasta, right? Because there's different points in Mount Shasta, and we actually didn't go to Mount Shasta until our third day. And that's actually when we had our tour guide with our tour, right? Our guide's name was Garth Skywalker or something. And he took us into these various points in Mount Shasta. And it was so amazing because you can literally feel the energy of the mountain just in these different pockets in Mount Shasta, right? He took us to Ascension Rock. That's actually where we charged all of these Moldavites at Ascension Rock. And I actually sold some of my Moldavites that I had with me to a couple of you lucky souls that have messaged me on Instagram. So again, if you are not following me on Instagram, if you haven't said hi to me on Instagram, then make sure you do that because I definitely check all my messages. But essentially, you know, we charged our Moldavites there. And the reason is because that Ascension Rock has such high vibrations. And, you know, I talk a lot about to my clients lately about how we're shifting from a 3D consciousness to 5D, right? And that 5D energy is all about joy and being in that higher vibration. And that's literally what Moldavite does, right? So Moldavite really aligns your chakras. And when you are in the energy of Moldavite, right? Sometimes people say that they feel airy or they feel like they're high or whatever the case may be. The truth is that all Moldavite's doing is that it's aligning all of your chakras. So if your chakras are actually not even aligned, then you're going to feel that shift, right? So essentially, I guess now we're talking about Moldavite. So let's move on to Moldavite. So with Moldavite, right, this has been, oh my goodness, my journey with Moldavite has been super fast. Super fast. Let me explain why. And I'll give you the timeline of what happened, right? So when I first got my very first Moldavite, I would say that was about a year ago. Holy crap. Okay. So a year ago, I received my very first Moldavite. Okay. That I don't have a picture of because I literally threw it away within a week. Okay. Watch that video if you haven't already. I couldn't handle it. Then Moldavite kept calling back to me and I got this one over here. And this is the one that has carried me until 8/8 of this year. But this Moldavite helped me write my book, publish my book, become a bestseller. What else did it help me do? It helped me get engaged. I wouldn't say it's like, how do I explain this? If you're listening to this and you're like, how can a stone do that for you? It's not the stone, it's that the stone puts you in a higher vibration, right? It gets you more aligned. And so I'm just noting all the events that has happened since this Moldavite, right? And so again, engagement, selling my books, more clients, bigger business ventures, right? And so that was this Moldavite over here. And I remember when I first got this Moldavite, I literally said, please be gentle with me because the first one, like I had to throw away, right? So I did not expect myself to actually get another Moldavite anytime soon. But this one came thanks to Tammy on 8/8. And this one was a super powerful one because of the fact that I was not prepared for this one.
No, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready.
And it just came into my life, right? And it just came. And so I don't think my body was ready for it because I was so adjusted to this stone that it was like, what is happening, right? So we came back from Mount Shasta. You know, it was a very high vibrational place. I came back here to LA and literally for the first 3 weeks. So first I was like on a high and then that's when I started feeling the shedding, right? So just so you know, if it's your first time working with Moldavite or if you've been working with Moldavite or if you're even just getting your next Moldavite, here are some things to remember, okay? If these things happen, it's totally normal and I don't want you to freak out because it's for your greater good, right? So it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, right? So when you get your Moldavite, there's gonna be a period where you are shedding old versions of yourself that you no longer need, right? So many of us hang on to things because it makes us feel comfortable, but it no longer helps us move forward in our journey. And what I like to think of Moldavite as is an accelerator on your life's journey or your life's mission. I love the stone because of that reason, right? For me, because I don't know when I'm gonna die, right? Like it's not guaranteed that we will even live until tomorrow. I want to make sure that I make the most out of each day, right? Whether that's with my clients, the impact that I'm making. And so for me, I'm like, heck yeah, give me the lessons faster. Give me this trials faster so that I can actually just go through it, experience it, learn it, and then I can advance, right? I want it now. And I talk a lot about this, especially in my book about life lessons and how in manifestation lessons are actually for you. And I forgot which chapter I talk about it, but it's actually in my book. So make sure you grab that as well because it's so important, right? So let me get back to what I'm talking about, the shedding period. So there's a period of shedding. So for me, it took me 3 weeks. And what's crazy is that the number 3, right? So number 3 is the number of ascended masters. That ascended masters are around you, the vibration of 3, right? So this is my 3rd stone. And in a weird way, I can literally feel that I have help around the stone. These 3 weeks of shedding was really brutal for me, where a lot of things were happening. Like a lot of good things were happening and a lot of bad things too. Literally someone was threatening to sue me, one of my clients, and just a lot of like bad things, right? And I wouldn't even say bad. They're just things that needed to happen for me to actually learn that lesson. And then also I had to let go 2 people that was working for me or working with me. So I was just recognizing faster that, hey, this is no longer part of my world and I really need to shed that. And again, it's not good or bad. It's just, it needs to be released, right? So there's going to be a shedding period, especially when you work with Moldavite. And that's the part that I feel like most people are afraid of, right? Like they're afraid of the uncomfortable change. And one of the things that someone told me on Instagram, she was saying how she's scared that if she works with Moldavite, then like she doesn't want all these like changes to happen. But the thing is that you have to realize that in order for you to ascend, the topic of ascension is that you're trying to like go to your next level without embodying all of the stuff that goes along with it, right? It's kind of literally like saying that you want to be in a relationship with someone, but you don't want to go all in because you're scared of all the bad stuff, like all the other stuff, like all the crappy argument stuff, right? Like, have you ever dated someone and they're like, they tell you their excuse of not going all in with you is, hey, you know, like I want to just like date other people, or I'm not really sure, I'm not really ready for like a real relationship. Like, come on. They already kind of set that stage for you to understand what this relationship is, right? So essentially, that's the same with Moldavite, right? Like if you choose to work with this stone, then know that when you come out of it, it's going to be great. Like right now, 3 weeks has passed. So different, greater alignment, much greater alignment at a different level. I'm seeing things literally differently, which is hard to explain, right? But when you're choosing to work with Moldavite, you're choosing to deal with the life lessons at a faster rate. The universe is like, here we go, like serving it to you like hot pancakes, right? So you're just like catching them and you're just going through them, right? Because in life, you cannot go around things, right? You have to go through them in order for you to fully embody that lesson. Last note that I want to talk when it comes to Moldavite. So my mom actually got a Moldavite when I first got this Moldavite. So if you don't know anything about my mom is super cool. She's also super woo-woo. I learned all things feng shui from her. And growing up, I thought she was a nutcase because she was so woo-woo. But turns out she makes a lot of money and a lot more than, anyways, I don't want to talk about that. Actually, let me just talk about that. So my mom growing up, I saw her as someone that stayed at home. She was a stay-at-home mom. And to me, I was like, okay, like she can't make money if she's staying at home. That was the belief that I had. But my mom was making money by trading stock. She's really into investments and she's also really woo-woo, right? So when I told her about Moldavite, she actually purchased her own Moldavite herself. And she actually purchased the biggest one on the website. I think her grams is like 18 grams. This one is not even 18 grams, okay? So my mom's motto is like, you either go big or you go home. So she's like, I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna like get the biggest one. My mom's life has completely shifted since she got it. Like, I can't even recognize her. Her spiritual awakening or whatever is on another level. I thought she was woo-woo back then, but then now she is like so dedicated to her craft. Like, there is so much power seeing her, and just how she's able to, I don't know. I have so much respect for my mom, but really the point is, now I feel like I'm rambling, that when it comes to Moldavite, when you're choosing to work with Moldavite, you are literally choosing for the universe to align your chakras for you, okay? And by doing so, you are choosing to help people, to impact people on a bigger level. And then you're literally saying like, hey, look, I'm going to deal with all of these things that come my way. And I'm not going to see them as, well, actually, you probably will. You're a human being. You're going to see them as, oh my God, like, stop. And then 2020 hindsight, when you look back on them, you're like, oh, so that's what I was supposed to learn. And here's the thing about lessons, right? Like, you have to actually learn the lesson in order for you to move on from it. If you keep seeing the same lesson over and over and over and over again, it's probably because the universe is saying like, hey, knock, knock, like, have you learned your lesson yet? That's why I keep giving it to you, for you to learn it, right? And that's also why we sometimes make the same mistakes, because we're not like opening up our eyes and saying like, oh, let me learn this. Okay, so I can move on to that next level, to the next stage in my life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was probably a little bit longer than my other ones. And I wanted to combine these two topics together, Mt Shasta and Moldavite, because that's literally when it happened together, right? So let me know if you like this new format of YouTube, right? Or like how I created this video. It's much more of a ramble. It's not as structured as I normally create my videos. I really want to take YouTube to be more of a conversation, instead of like me being like, okay, like I have to hit these key points, and if I don't, then like blah, blah, blah. So let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you have ever been to Mt Shasta, or if you have worked with Moldavite before, and kind of tell me about your experiences, right? Because I think that most of you have seen my other videos, and if you haven't, please check them out. But essentially, if you're here, you have been on this journey with me. And if you haven't, then welcome, and hope you have your seatbelt fastened in for the ride. Bye.